welcome to the Philadelphia edition of SpotPlays. I'm excited to have on not just one guest, but we have two great guests, considering that we've got the big PARX Card Pennsylvania Derby on Saturday that we're all looking forward to. So I wanted to welcome to the show Chris Griffin, the announcer of PARX. Chris, welcome.
What's going on? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming on. And then one of my personal favorite handicappers out there, one of the hardest working, Andrew Rdesinski. Andrew, how are you?
Doing good, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really a big fan of yours. You just have such a nice tone and a nice voice to the call. So how long have you been an announcer for?
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So this is year 8. I'm going into year 8 as far as my announcing career, and I've been announcing and doing stuff for over 15 years now. So I've had plenty of experience with a microphone in my hand, and it's been enjoyable. But yeah, I got started in 2015 and got started in Ferndale and really had a great time there, calling a couple weeks at the Humboldt County Fair. And I've been very lucky to get some more opportunities as time has continued to go on. And as you know, or may not know, the announcer community, it's a pretty tight, small group, as far as everybody knowing each other, whether it's a fraternity or whatever you want to call it. So, you kind of get a sense of who's where, and you make those connections, and sometimes opportunities do come your way. So yeah, I got lucky to have some opportunities last year and even prior to that. And it's been a wild ride, no pun intended, as far as getting involved in horse racing and being in the booth. And I'm just lucky. I'm lucky to have those opportunities, lucky to be here in the booth at PARX. It's a fantastic card, as you already pointed out, on Saturday. Looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about it. But yeah, it's a great time. I've enjoyed my time in New York, and looking forward to getting back there as well. So it's all good.
My first question is, tell us how you got into this profession.
I actually randomly, through a connection, it's a very random story about how Frank Miramati and I got connected and became friends. It was just kind of one of those chance things, and I contacted him, gave him a shout. It was a friendship that turned into some opportunities later on, and it really came down to getting opportunities at seminars as a handicapper and just trying to get your foot in the door. I mean, anybody that's trying to get involved in horse racing or wants to be in the business or wants to get any job, you need somebody that can help you get that opportunity and give you that chance. Frank helped me do that. He helped me get my foot in the door as far as getting my first opportunity, as I talked about in Ferndale. And you have to do the work, you have to put in the time, and then it kind of grows from there. So yeah, I started in Ferndale, did that a couple weeks. After that, I got an opportunity at Portland Meadows. I was actually living in Illinois at the time, so I would fly back and forth. I would take a red eye I would take a flight on Sundays. I would call the races on Mondays and Tuesdays. I would jet over to the airport on Tuesday night to take a red eye to fly back to Illinois on Wednesdays. Then I would spend Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at home, and then I would go back to Portland to call Mondays and Tuesdays, because that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I wanted to call races and I wanted to be in booth. And so when you get those chances, you do it. From there, then I got the opportunity at Gulfstream Park West and was able to do that. I had the fairs. I had Ferndale, and then I picked up more fairs and was able to work the entire circuit for a few years, and that was a huge opportunity. And then that's when Sam Houston Race Park called, and Frank Hoff, and we had that discussion, and I went down to Houston, Texas, and had an opportunity to move my tack, I guess, move my journeyman microphone and whatnot to Houston, and have that opportunity there. Had a great time in Houston. There was really enjoyable. Was able to really experience more of the social media aspect and growing the personal brand, and also being a part of a strong racing product, which I've been a part of everywhere I've gone. But Sam Houston was a really fun time to see the growth and the progression, and really see the audience get involved. That was a lot of fun. And then when PARX came up, I guess almost 2 years ago now, when Keith Jones retired. Then that's when I auditioned in April and had an opportunity, or auditioned prior to that, but got hired last April, and was able to jump in the booth. And I've had a great time here, and we've done some really strong work. I think we've helped grow just the footprint of what PARX can do on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are tough, man. It's early in the week, and you have all the big racing action that you have on a weekend. So when you get involved at the beginning of the week, you want to remind people that you're there. And there's a lot of people that still want to get involved in the wagering action and watch some races and see some competitive races. So I've worked with a great crew as I've talked about at length, to put it on. Andrew's been on the show before, and have just tried to do what we can to entertain people and bring it. Obviously this week has been a bit busier as far as the coverage, and people wanted to get up close and personal with these Grade 1 type horses, Grade 3 type horses, Grade 2 type horses. But it's been an enjoyable journey. It's been an up and down journey in some ways, but I'm happy to be where I'm at. I'm happy to be on the East Coast. I was born in Santa Monica, California. I can't remember the last time I was in Santa Monica, honestly. Like, I'm kind of
think of you as a Philadelphian right now, and I will tell you that one of the things that was interesting when I saw is that obviously you were a hot rod announcer.
Yeah, when I was with the NHRA tour, it was just one of those. That was another random way to get that gig. But a buddy of mine, I was running restaurants at the time. I thought that's what I was going to do, and a buddy of mine actually gave me a call. He said, "Hey, come out to Texas and do this thing for the weekend." I did it for the weekend, and he actually brought me down there to offer me the job. So I did that. Yeah, I mean, introducing the drivers and people that were coming out and doing these little activations for people. They would do like a little timer thing, reaction timer thing, and then they get a prize. I mean, it was just part of this whole activation that we did throughout the season. I did that for about 4 or 5 years, and then that's when the Harlem Globetrotters opportunity came up, and I got to do that. But yeah, with it's a much different thing. Drag racing and horse racing, there are very few similarities besides the fact that everybody wants to go fast.
That's awesome. And the Harlem Globetrotters, I'm curious. Because I talked to Andrew. Me and Andrew are wrestling fans, and everything's scripted. Is the Harlem Globetrotters really all scripted?
No, it's a real basketball game. It's a real game. The Generals, the Generals lost all the time. I couldn't figure that one out. That was the one thing. I mean, the Globetrotters would always come back at the end of the game. What a fantastic opportunity that was. I mean, 6 years to be the voice of the Harlem Globetrotters and to travel the world and to, just. It's a little bit of a grind. And you talk about actually wrestling. It's very similar to the world. I mean, you're traveling to city to city to city, a different night, and you're playing a different game in a different spot, and you got those bus rides, and you're moving on and going to the next spot. So it was a wonderful experience. I got to travel. I got to see the world. It was amazing to have that opportunity, because I said this on other shows too. A lot of people always say, I wish I traveled more. I wish I was able to travel in my life. Like, everybody mentions travel a lot. I got a chance to do it. I saw a lot of the world. I've seen 49 of the 50 states, and it's just been a blast. I've had a lot of fun doing that. But I'm happy where I'm at now. It is a real game. It's a real basketball game.
So, Andrew, don't get upset, but I want to clear something up real quick. Chris, now that you're in Philly, can we just go ahead and let everybody know that it's called a steak and cheese and not a Philly cheesesteak?
I don't know about that one, man.
The journeys that I've taken with cheesesteaks and Philly, and my love for Swiss, and the fact that I would like Swiss on my cheesesteak, and apparently that's a big no-no. I mean, come on, what are we doing here, guys? It's 2022. There's a lot of great cheesesteak. I mean, man,
what's the best though? What's your best in your opinion?
So I went to Joe's before it closed. The one, the Torrealba one. I went to Joe's before they shut their doors and they closed down, and that was definitely the best. I haven't had a chance to have that many. I think I don't know. You guys probably know better than I do.
I was gonna say, this is disappointing. Andrew, what's the best cheesesteak in Philly? Come on, Philly.
It's not in Philly. That's the thing. It's in Bristol, which is close to PARX. It's not that far. About 10-minute drive. But Curly's is by far the best cheesesteak I ever had. And I didn't have it until about a year ago. So
I think I actually have had Curly's. Yeah, it was pretty good. It's pretty good. It was a pretty good sandwich.
Tony Luke's, because they got the best bread in all of Philadelphia. So I vouch for it. Don't go to the one at the airport. You got to go to the one down in South Philly next to the stadiums.
The one thing that always makes me laugh, though, is that we pose the question, but we already think we have the answer in our mind. We're like, where's the best cheesesteak in Philly? And then whatever I say, you're going to disagree with because
you got the wrong answer. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. So
pari-mutuel wagering. Got to love it.
Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. It's my second show of the week. I have another one right after this one, and I have a show tomorrow. Doing something with Chris's fellow coworker, Danny Gibson, doing some stuff with her tomorrow and the Stable Duel people. As of now, And yeah, I'm working on some articles that I can write up and race by race picks and whatnot for the whole day, and I'm excited. I've been looking at this card since Monday night, so been pretty much diving into it all week.
No doubt. And if you don't follow Andrew, something's wrong with you. At PhillyBoy415 on Twitter, Andrew is one of the hardest workers and especially one of the best young handicappers that's out there with what he does day in and day out. And I'm not here to toot his horn, but I think everybody knows what he does. But I will tell you that, we've actually been connected for a while. And Andrew actually won a tourney amongst some of the best handicappers, people that are on TV and everything. Andrew actually won that tourney, and I have a lot of respect for his handicapping and what he does. So, Andrew, I did want to ask you, you spend a lot of time at PARX in your life. What's been your favorite PARX moment?
Well, I have a couple, but I really did like last year's Pennsylvania Derby a lot. The whole atmosphere last year was pretty good because they didn't have it in 2020, so everybody kind of wanted to come out, and it was a good day. The rain kind of held off, but I think honestly the best moment's going to come out on this Saturday because the weather is going to be fall weather. It's like high of 70 and sunny. I mean, it's going to be free everything. They give you a free hat, and it's just going to be a good atmosphere, I would say, on Saturday. Plus, the card's probably the best Pennsylvania Derby card I've ever seen, and I've been going to them since I could, walk. So I've seen a lot of them. So I think this one's going to be pretty fun. But I would say the most memorable moment was seeing Math Wizard fly down the grandstand side and get up at the wire with Irad Ortiz for Safi Joseph in 2019. And luckily the cool thing about that one was one of the owners is a local owner, and John Finelli on that horse. So good to see the local guys get a little piece of that action. And I hope maybe Adam Bowman wins the cotillion this year. Maybe one of the local connections wins the Pennsylvania Derby this year, but we'll see. I think the best moment's coming for soon though, instead of the past.
Absolutely. I love it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Andrew, how excited are you for this Pennsylvania Derby on Saturday?
I mean, I've been counting down the days, and Chris can admit this too, for at least like 2-3 months now. So I've been posting about it on Twitter, saying that September 24th can't come quicker. So hopefully it's a good day. Hopefully I make some money. Hopefully I make some new friends, or build up some more relationships or whatever. But as long as everybody gets around the oval safely and everybody has a good time, that's all that matters.
Awesome. Excellent. So are you guys ready to talk some racing?
Let's do it.
Of course.
All right. Let's talk about it. So we're gonna talk. I know there's a lot of great races, and my level of excitement is probably on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm probably at a 20, because when I saw this card, I could not believe how good this Pennsylvania Derby is. I mean, goes right up there with the Travers, the Haskell, everything else. So again, congratulations, PARX, for this fantastic card, because I really enjoyed going through and just handicapping that piece of it. Let's get into so race 10 is at 6 furlongs. It's the Gallant Bob. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this one?
I was kind of hoping that Scattermooch, or however Chris pronounces it during the race day, but would not have the 14 hole. But even with the 14 hole, I think that horse might be the horse to beat. I have a couple other horses I like. I hope that the local horse does win. I mean, he does have 5 wins out of 6 races at PARX, which is impressive in its own. But I do like Nakatomi as well. Wesley Ward has a good horse with this one. Nice bullet workout at Keeneland last time out. Gets Joel Rosario, sits off the pace. Everything kind of screams that this horse is in a good spot. And then I do like a local horse, actually. Well, not local horse now, but for local connections, which is Jelly Nougat, I guess is how you pronounce the second word in that one, for JKX Racing, Abner Adorno, Ernesto Padilla Preciado. Everything in that horse looks good. I think that JKX Racing does a really good job with bringing horses over from Churchill and from Indiana Grand and Oaklawn and brings them to PARX. Usually first time out they run really well. So I'm hoping that this is it's a little bit of an aggressive spot, but if the horse is ready to go, it's not in the numbers aren't out of it. So I think that horse is a good long shot play here.
Okay, good. Chris, what are your thoughts on this race? And I was just thinking, he just said Scaramouche. I was thinking it would have been kind of cool if Kendrick Carmouche was on that horse, and that would be a great race call.
Oh yeah, so cool to have those right or those rhyming names.
Yeah, make it harder for them, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, you take a look at it. I guess the thing that jumps off is that when you get 14 in there that are entered, and you talk about last year and not looking back too much, but look, Jackie's Warrior was what 1-5 in last year's race and cantered home, and now you see the sprint division is just much more wide open this season. You start thinking about okay, top sprinters, who's been out there, where do we land? Running Son of a Gun's going to take some action. I mean, it's Luis Saez. It's the number 9 in there. Third beaten 4 in the Haskell. You see the Alan Jerkins. You see Jack Christopher. You see Gunite. 2 starts back behind Gunite. This is a 3-year-old that's probably, pretty well meant going at this sprint distance, has just been tackling some of those top ones in the division. This is just one of those races, especially second leg of the Philly 5 and being a mandatory distribution and looking at a big field like this does have the sense that this could be one of those what's going to happen. Wow, look at this kind of race. I mean, you reference Morning Line and you're talking about it. There's some horses that are going to go up and down. I don't know if you have a clear-cut favorite in here. I thought Running Son of a Gun at 6-1 probably comes down a little bit off of that number. But the horse has also been a massive price in all of his last races. I mean, he hasn't been lower than 11-1 in his last 4 starts, but he's been tackling against, some of the top 3-year-olds that are sprinting in the division. So it's a wide open race. Scaramouche towards the outside does pick up John Velasquez. That's a big, that's an interesting jockeying booking that would make you kind of take a glance. He's won 5 times. I know they like the outside draw, but it's also the 14 hole, and it's when you're breaking for 14, it's Lupe Preciado. They know how to win big races. Johnny V picks up the mount. I don't know. Maybe the local horse does get the job done because he seems like he can run races that are very competitive with the rest. But I mean, doesn't it feel like Running Son of a Gun kind of jumps off the page a little bit? I mean, the 3-year-old in there. I don't know.
Eddie, who do you got? Who's your top pick?
My top pick, Chris just talked to him. Running Son of a Gun. You got Toscano and Saez. That's the only negative I see with this horse is that Toscano and Saez are 0 for 13 as a combination. But this horse, the breeding out of Gun Runner, which I know Pace Sheets loves Gun Runner, out of a Malibu Moon mare. He was third both times at Saratoga in the Amsterdam and the Alan Jerkins. Didn't get the cleanest of trips in both of those runs. I actually had got into a little trouble in both of those. But I believe there's enough speed in this race for him to close into. He's 1 for 1 at PARX. At the distance, 3 times. He's got 2 wins in a second. And I really like his work on the 17th of September leading into this. Then I like Nakatomi second. Rosario and Ward are always dangerous as a combination. But I do believe this horse can make a nice run of it and hang on for second. And I'm also going to use both Jelly Nougat and Lightning Larry, to maybe round out a try or something like that if I'm going to play it that way. But I'm on 9-11, but I really like the 9 quite a bit.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I looked at this. This for me, I got I'm 9-3-11. I got 3 contenders here. And let me just share. I just want to share the pace sheet and see what the numbers look like. But when you look at the pace sheet, that's not the one I wanted. All right, there's the window. I just wanted to show. Actually, I really like the 11 to begin with, but I think you are going to get a little bit of pace in here. Actually, it's off the charts right now. I'm sure there'll be a couple scratches, but the 9 really does stick out. Looks like 9-11. What I see, the 5. I mean, looks like a contender when I look at the numbers, but some interesting things there. But I'm 9-3-11. Same reasons you guys mentioned. Luis Saez, Gun Runner, had some trouble the last 2 races, where it came in. But I really like that one. I think I'm going 9 there. Let's go to the cotillion.
There we go.
Chris, I'm gonna let you lead on this one.
I think it's kind of starts and ends with Secret Oath, and really depends on how you feel about the 6 in the race. She's had a very strong campaign. She's had 11 starts. She's won 5 of them. Her last 2 efforts came behind Nest, who many have, definitely feel that she's the top 3-year-old in the country as far as fillies are concerned, and maybe she's in a discussion for who knows. But off of those 2 second place finishes, you get Saez back, a 3-year-old filly that she really doesn't need an introduction at this point. I mean, it's the Hall of Famer, the legend D. Wayne Lucas. I guess it depends on the trip. I think there's more speed in this race, I felt like, than the Derby. I think you get some speed to set things up. From a visual standpoint, just watching from the booth, Green Up did run very, very well last time out. This is a big step up for her. I mean, she's now moving into a grade 1 off of 4 consecutive victories, but she's been lights out in those last 4. I have to imagine that a lot of bettors are going to jump on board here. She's 6-1 on the morning line. Another one that I feel like maybe comes down just a little bit off that number, but it looks like a field that there are several horses that make sense if you're against Secret Oath. I think that there's, like I've said, I just don't think there's a gray area right now. It feels like that people are either all in on Secret Oath or they're just saying, I'm going to leave her off the ticket. So however people end up seeing that, however they want to play. But Adair Manor is also Bob Baffert. He knows how to win races when he comes to Pennsylvania. When he's come to Ben Salem, he's had great success. Adair Manor has not been seen since the Black Eyed Susan, but she's coming off of a layoff and she's going to run in grade 1. That speaks volumes. And she looks great on the backside. I mean, I've seen her in the flesh, and she looks pretty impressive. So we'll see how she performs. Is there going to be a lot of speed? To me, it looks like there is going to be some speed to set things up. I think Morning Matcha comes from a little bit further back. Maybe she's a bit of a price play if you want to take a look at some exotics or something like that. But it's again, nice race. 9 fillies, quality fillies here at this 3-year-old level. And Secret Oath, she's the deserving favorite, but I think you're going to see a lot of handicapping back and forth and a lot of people really taking sides in that discussion on Saturday. I really do. I think she's going to be one of those, a lot of people are in or they're definitely not in on her.
Andrew, are you in on Secret Oath?
I am, but a little bit more defensively, I would say, than as like a top pick, because I'm a big fan of Green Up. I love the rail draw. I was at the draw in a little bit in the background while Chris was doing all the the dirty work of doing the draw. But I did love that Green Up got the rail. I was there for the Catherine Sophia, which was the local prep for the cotillion, and the horse jumped off the screen. She went from on DRF buyers an 86 to 100. It was she's never really been above an 85 or 86 on buyers. To jump up to a triple digit buyer at PARX is tough enough to do in its own, but then to try to go from that to a cotillion is also tough. But I think this horse really just likes the surface at PARX. She's really coming into her own, and as the 3-year-olds go into the fall, boys or girls, that some do become late bloomers, and I think this one for Pletcher could be one of those late bloomers that she really hasn't even shown her best yet, and that's why they put her in this spot. And then I think that she could be the one that it might even be the horse to beat. And that's my top choice.
Okay, Eddie, who's your top pick?
For me, this race is, but I'm going to take the unpopular stance and throw Secret Oath out of the top 2.
Whoa.
I like Green Up quite a bit. It's obviously a step up in class.
So I'm gonna tell you that when I look at this race, listen, I'm the biggest Secret Oath fan there is, and I really think that I'd love to see Secret Oath win by 52 lengths. I'd love to see it happen. I mean, Secret Oath. Listen, we all know the story with Nest, and a lot of people are saying, have we already seen the best? Has Secret Oath peaked? I do like the 1. I'm a little concerned that Secret Oath is going to go below 2-1. I think you've got to get 2-1, 3-1 on Secret Oath. I'm not that strong about it, my opinion. I would rather have Green Up, and I don't think Green Up's going to be 6-1 at post either. I think Green Up's going to be more like probably 4-1. So I'm 1-6 here. I think those are the 2 that really stick out on my mind. And then I was looking at I just want to share the pace sheets on this one. So actually the pace sheets are kind of interesting because the Secret Oath doesn't really stand out on here, which is interesting. Actually, the 7, I got to go back and look at it, but Shahama actually stands out with some numbers, which is very odd. But again, I'm 1-6 here. Eddie, did you want to? Are you back?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, I'm 1-7 in this race. As I said, I'm taking the unpopular position, and I'm not using Secret Oath in my top two. The 7-horse Shahama is my top play. 2 solid works. One, the grade 2 Monmouth Oak last out. I know he lost to Gerrymander and Secret Oath, but in both of those starts, he had troubled trips. He got bobbled start, and he also got bumped and had a rough trip in the one he lost to Secret Oath. So I'm 7-1. And I'll probably box it just because I think it'll be a price. Green Up's moving up, but 4 for 4, 1 for 1 at PARX, 2 for 2 at the distance. Got to use them.
Okay, fantastic. And let's talk about the big one now. We're finally there. The final race. Chris, the one you've been waiting for, and I think this is the second time you've called the Pennsylvania Derby.
Yep.
What are you thinking on this race?
Yeah, I just think that it's a quality race for the 3-year-olds. You got 4 Grade 1 winners in this race. It looks like a wide open field on paper as far as the connections. Taking a shot here for $1 million at a mile and an eighth. Cyberknife and Taba, they do look like 2 of the top main contenders from a wagering standpoint, and to get the job done. We the People, I think, plays a pace presence. I think that this horse has got that early speed and has somewhat of a shot to stick around the late stages. And then you've got quite a few closers that have a big shot as well. So it looks like a lot of the action happens in the middle. That 5, 6, 7, 8. It seems like I think a lot of bettors and a lot of decisions will be there, but. As Andrew said earlier, I just hope that they all get in the gate, they all get around there safely, and we see a nice race and we see a nice performance. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the added coverage. Andrew and all of you guys are going to do a great job handicapping, and I just appreciate the time. It's great to be here, and thanks for having me. And hope everybody joins us on Saturday for sure.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Chris.
on board,
Thanks,
Chris.
I'm thinking I may know where you're going to go here, but where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm breaking any news to you guys about who I like, because I've already announced it on another show, and if you've seen the Stable Duel TikTok that we did, my pick was also on there. But I am all over Tawnyport in this race. I think that there's other contenders that definitely can win, and I definitely won't be singling Tawnyport or anything like that. I will be betting it to win. I think Tawnyport is a horse that is definitely coming into form at the right time. The last 2 races were definitely impressive, and they were going against, I would say, tougher fields than this. When it comes to the top horses were in there, if I believe it was Epicenter was also in the race last time out against Tawnyport, where he only finished 3rd by less than 2 to 3 lengths. I don't know the exact adjustment, but I know it was 2 to 3. Lost to Epicenter and Zandon in the Jim Dandy, but the Ohio Derby was good. He beat White Abario. The Kentucky Derby wasn't even that bad. Going off 80-1, I going into the race, I was like, I don't think Tawnyport's ready yet, but I think Tawnyport, if you can ask a couple other handicappers on Twitter, that I told them that Tawnyport was going to be a horse for the fall, and I think that's coming true. And I also like Cyberknife for the other Brad Cox. That's a logical choice. Probably going to go off the favorite, just because Baffert doesn't have the best reputation, but people like Cyberknife, and it seems to always be the wise guy horse. So I think Cyberknife probably will go off the favorite. But I think either the Brad Coxes definitely have a live shot. I'm just going to side with Tawnyport, and then I think Taba wins. Bob Baffert becomes a leading trainer for wins in the Pennsylvania Derby at 4. Currently, he's tied for 3. And I think that Taba is definitely getting into form now. I don't think he was 100% in the Haskell. And it's a gun runner. We all love gun runners. So I think it's between the 5, 7, and 8. And then I have one outside long shot that I definitely want to put in, and it's the 10 Naval Aviator, the local horse. Well, not local horse, but local connections, similar to the Ernesto Padilla Preciado horse and the Gallant Bob. Same connections when it comes to Naval Aviator, and this horse has actually some pretty good numbers on in against Lesser. Ran second to Keep Me in Mind last time out in an allowance race at Saratoga, and I think that it definitely is improving each start. I don't think he can win, but he can definitely round out a trifecta or a superfecta, and he's definitely going to be around 20-1. So, and hopefully Abner Adorno can get lucky and, somebody for the, something to cheer for the local connections with Abner Adorno and Preciado and JKX Racing and everything else.
Absolutely. Eddie, who are you going with here?
So this race, I think, is real interesting because I think Cyberknife and We the People are going to battle for the lead. I think the only way Cyberknife can win this race is if he tries to go out to the lead, and I totally believe We the People's not going to give up the lead. So I think they may get caught up in a battle. And Chris, you know me well enough to know that I got to go with my deputy minister guy. Zanden's running in this race for one reason and one reason only. Chad Brown thinks he can win. It's his third race off a layoff. He's coming off of a couple of really nice runs. He's had two great works since the Travers. Didn't have the best of trips in the Travers. I hope this isn't a horse that just doesn't like to win just because of what's happened the last couple of races. But, he's been knocking on the door, and I believe that he's going to get a good trip. I believe Joel's going to let this horse. It's a big jockey change in a sense. I mean, Flavian goes to We the People. Joel's riding him, Zandon now. I just think Joel's going to let the horse dictate what he wants to do, whether he wants to try to break early from the rail or drop back and make one last run. But for me, this race is Zandon, the one horse with 8, Taiba. A lot of hype on Taiba. Really solid horse. And Taiba could run off the page, but I'm going to pick Zandon for a little bit of a price. And then I'm going to round it out with the 9-horse Simplification. If you're looking at maybe a price play for an exacta, or even Simplification and We the People to finish third, and maybe round out a decent try. But I'm one Zandon with 8 Taiba for the most part.
One tidbit before you get in there, Simplification actually, out of all the shippers, in my opinion, well, I don't know of exactly how factual this is, but I believe Simplification's been at PARX backside, getting over the track for about a month now. So out of all the other horses that are shipping in, I believe Simplification is going to be the one with the most experience over the track in the mornings, which definitely will help out. Sano also brought a couple other horses that run at Delaware and PARX last week. They didn't do too well, but Simplification is obviously the best in the barn that he brought over. So hopefully, and I know Paco's been getting on the horse every morning. So
that's great info. That's great info, Andrew. But
yeah, I know. I mean, look, I didn't say they were good workouts, but definitely not that many work at 6 furlongs and 5 furlongs at PARX. But it's just good to see a horse get over the track a couple more times than everybody else. When it comes to shippers, because PARX's surface is pretty deep, so yeah, it's tough to get used to right away.
But I think that's a great call out that Simplification's been there, worked out the 10th of September. So. And then the 16th. So I think that may be a good insight tip there.
Yeah, he's been there basically all of September.
Chris, before you bring up the pace sheets and do your picks, Andrew, how's the rail at PARX? Because I know it hasn't been the most favorable rail. Do you think they're gonna kind of dig it up and juice it up for this?
I was up there Tuesday and Wednesday, off and on. I didn't go up there. I might have went up Monday and Wednesday and not Tuesday, but when I went up there on Wednesday, which was yesterday, the inside was definitely a little bit better than it was on Monday. And apparently they were kind of putting in some extra water, getting a little bit tighter on the rail. Same thing goes for the turf course. Turf course rail looked really good too. I don't know how it's going to be, if they did anything today or tomorrow or Saturday morning, but I'll definitely be up there early enough Saturday morning to, where it's post training. I'll probably get up there around 10:30 a.m. Gates open at 10. Training probably ends at 9. So I'll definitely be able to go look and see if the rail's a little tighter than normal. But they have been putting a lot of water on the surface, and it rained a little bit today. It rained a little bit on Monday. So, everything's kind of pointing towards it's going to be a little bit more firm course on the turf and probably pretty fast on the dirt. So hopefully it's not too biased.
Eddie,
let's get the pace sheets. Let's get the pace sheets.
Okay, well, relax. I can't do anything until you give me a drum roll. I hear it. So I am going. Listen, I just can't give up on Taiba. I can't. I watched that Haskell 4 times last night, and I still say Mike Smith looked like he was going to get caught in the rail, and I think he took the horse back a little bit going into the turn, and he looked like he pulled back, and then he got stuck because that's when he had to go 4 wide. When I watch Taba coming down the stretch in those strides, I watched it last night, and I thought Taba was going to win. That's how fast that horse was moving, and I said, it's over. And then he kind of hung a little bit, but I think that horse really got impacted by going 4 wide into the stretch. I'm not giving up on Taba. As Andrew alluded to, you got, Baffert's, he's going to be the number 1. If he wins this one, he'll be have the most Pennsylvania Derby wins, right? Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a piece of it. People say, well, I don't like Mike Smith. Mike Smith, the one thing I'll tell you about Baffert, Mike Smith is stuck with Baffert the whole time. There's something to be said about loyalty. And I'm good with that. I'm okay. Listen, Mike Smith rode Justify. Mike Smith rode Arrogate. I think, listen, Bob Baffert, if his number 1 guy is going to be Mike Smith, I'm sticking with my pick for the Haskell, that this time he's going to get a better trip and he's going to win the Pennsylvania Derby. Now, that's what I say. Now, second, I like Zandon a little bit better than Cyberknife. Cyberknife I've played against and I've lost a couple times. I just think Cyberknife is at the right place at the right time. In the Travers, the horse went to the front end, got a rail saving trip. And I think the same thing, it got a nice trip in the Haskell. So I'm not going to get crazy about Cyberknife. I think he's a good horse. I think he's peaking. I think he's improving. I just think Taba is top of the class here when I'm looking at all this. So let's get into this pace sheets and let's see exactly what it shows me. So when I look at this, I'll tell you that Taba looks pretty good on paper. I don't know if that's a big surprise to anybody. Taba looks like the best on paper. The one Zandon looks pretty good. They're going to get some pace here too, by the way. I mean, this pace looks like it could be pretty fast, so we'll see what happens when the scratches come out. The one that really interests me, and I'm trying to make an angle because I think he's a good horse, but I think he's probably a grade 3 horse, is We the People. We the People, when I look at this and I do the pace handicapping, I just like We the People, how it sticks out. Now, I was trying to figure this piece of it out. It's an early speed horse. Why does it have the best late speed? Because when you look at it, it was one of those races. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before. It had one of those triple-digit pop off the page late speed. So maybe that throws that off a little bit. But I like what I'm seeing here with Taba, and hopefully Taba doesn't let me down.
Yeah, the only tidbit I had on Taba that why I didn't put Taba on top and I put Tony Port and even Cyberknife over him is that if Mike Smith does do what he did in the Haskell where he did, kind of get off the rail, well, he won't probably be on the rail this time, but if he gets somehow wide or if he has to check or something, some kind of miscue happens around that turn, Taba's basically done. On PARX turn, if you're not 2 to 3 lengths in these big dirt races, 2 to 3, maybe even 4 if pushing it lengths off the leader on the turn halfway or coming out of the turn even, you really have no realistic shot, especially this past week or two. There's been very rare amount of closers. PARX has never really been a closer friendly track. But right now, it's if you are setting quick early fractions and you get loose, you're not getting caught. So if somebody gets out there early on any of these races from 1 to 13, they're probably going to be a tough horse to catch.
I'm going to ask him how early can he go to the track on Saturday because I wanted to talk to Mike Smith.
I mean, I don't know how Mike Smith probably beat me there. He gets there before the crowd.
Go ahead, Eddie.
No, what I was going to say about We the People is, and look, listen, I said it earlier. I will be shocked if We the People and Cyberknife do not get into a speed duel. I truly believe that. And Chris, as far as the pace sheets are concerned, We the People freaked in the Peter Pan because it was a wet, fast track as well. Well, it's listed as good. It was listed as good, but wet, fast. You get to the front. Everybody knows that follows racing and is an above average handicapper. When it's a wet, fast track, it favors speed just about anywhere. And he also didn't beat much. That Peter Pan field was pretty weak for the most part. So that's the one that just totally sticks off the page. And I bought into him I've totally bought into them because I bet them in the Belmont, and I think I picked them in the Belmont on top when we did our show, Chris. But I think we, the people in Cyberknife, get into a huge speed duel. You know me, I can't get off Zandon. I got to go with my deputy minister boy, and I got to go with my gun runner guy too. So
Andrew, so just wrapping things up, what are you working on now? What do you want to plug?
Well, in the last couple of days of this week is my last couple of days doing that partnership with Stable Duel. So if you are new to Stable Duel and you want to sign up and play the big Saturday game, which I believe is a $50 entry, and I believe it's a pretty big payout. And I will be definitely having a stable in that, I believe. There's also a $5 option for Stable Duel on Saturday, along with games everywhere else in the country. Outside of like New York and a couple other big markets where they're not quite there yet, but you got fun games, free games, good payouts, a lot of games where you have a advantage with ROI. So if you want to play and you want to sign up, I do have a link in my Twitter bio. I'm going to, shamelessly plug, try to get some, new people in the game. If anybody is listening or watching is going to be at PARX on Saturday, hit me up on Twitter, give me a shout, and I'll definitely be there.
All right. So wrapping it up, Andrew, thank you for your time. I appreciate you jumping on and doing this with us. Eddie, we'll see each other again soon, I'm sure. But other than that, everybody have a fantastic Saturday betting PARX. Again, great card. We didn't talk about this, but it's actually a mandatory. It's a payout on the pick 5. Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to put some more work in. I'm actually going to do some replay work and get ready for this using the pay sheets and everything. So
I'm going to post and I'm going to post the pick 5 for notebook picks as well. So keep that in mind, and that'll be on the pay sheets website, guys.
Yeah, awesome. I'll have a ticket on my Twitter somewhere. So by then,
one of us is bound to win it at some point. So thank you guys.